Shalom, shalom. All praises to Yahweh. Kahala Yahweh. Barakatah Yahweh. All right, Israel. That's my daughter coming in and out. Peace to the panel. Peace to everybody who comes through. All praises to Yahweh, definitely. We're just going to continue to do what we've been doing here, and we've been dispelling myths and debunking false history. So I'm going to start off right here. I'm going to start you off right here. Scratch what that has to say, because I'm finna show you what this has to say don't line up with real history. These are the Babylonian scribes. You are looking at them. That is the Babylonian scribe. I'm going to wholeheartedly show you that. Let's let that sink in, okay? Now, I'm going to show you a very interesting connection. And I want to, let me give a few words, man. Before I go into this, I want to give a few words. Here as of lately, it's been this whole scenario of I've basically been in one battle after another, disputing people with these doctrines. I'm going to say this now, and I'm not going to take this back. When we was on Solar Vision, Solar Mind, I told Sakari I don't deal with myths. Everybody I come across now, I'm having to make that known. Before we start discoursing about this and doctrine and this and that, I don't deal with the myth side. So a lot of people believe that there's no myths, and they're very wrong. And big shout out to the brothers who are doing the righteous thing and trying to keep the charge. And thumbs down to all these lukewarm people who pull this little number. And I'm starting to notice something. I'm starting to notice there's a little dance people do when they start to realize their doctrine is wrong. It's called screaming and yelling. Now, for some odd reason, I keep getting this, either this reaction of screaming and yelling, or I get this reaction of people just laughing. But then when we finish up the scripts and we go through the scripts, then all of a sudden they stop laughing and they just agree, oh, well, you know, well, like, you was just laughing when I said this to you. So what that proves to me is that many of our most learned, so-called learned people are still on the myths that the Babylonian scribes done created. So what we're going to do here, we're going to take our instrument and we're going to show something. And I'm going to say this. I found something, and I've watched numerous breakdowns on the book of Obadiah. And I found something very interesting in the book of Obadiah, and I'm going to wholeheartedly say this. As many breakdowns that I ever seen anybody ever do, I've never seen nobody address this. So before we go any farther, let's go ahead to Obadiah real quick. And let's get this real quick. Let's cover this. It says, the vision of Obadiah, thus said Adonai Yahweh Elohim concerning Edom. It says, we have heard tidings from Yahweh, and a messenger has been sent among the nations, saying, arise and let us rise up against her for battle. Behold, I have made you inferior among the nations and very despised. The wickedness of your heart misled you, you who dwells in the clefts of the rocks, in the lofty abode, who says his heart, who can bring me down to earth? Sorry. Bring me down to earth. Even if you raise your nest like an eagle, and place your nest among the stars, I will bring you down from the word of Yahweh. If thieves had come upon you and plunders right, how utterly are you cut off? It says, would they not steal only until they had enough for themselves? If a grape harvester will come to you and would not leave over a gleaning, how has Esau been searched out? His hordes revealed. Now here you go. I want you to see this. Verse number 7. All the men of your covenant escorted you until the border. unto the border. Men at peace with you misled you and prevailed over you. Those who eat your bread made a wound for your place. Let me stop right there. Let's deal with that. So first thing first, it says all the men of your covenant. What are the men of Esau's covenant? Well, let's jump into that. We jump into that. We'll need to go to Psalm 83. Gain some more understanding. So we go to Psalm 83. I'm going to start at verse number 5. They said, come, let us cut them off from a nationhood, so Israel's name will not be remembered any longer. For they take counsel together unanimously. They strike a covenant. See that? Now watch. Against you, the tents of Edom and the Ishmaelites, the tents of Edom, the Ishmaelites, Moab, Hagarenes, Gabal, Ammon, Amalek, Philistia, with the inhabitants of Tyre, even Assyria joined with them, and they became a strong arm of Lot's son. So let's take a real quick pause. All the nations in Psalm 83 that are Hamite, I'm going to show you who they are today. These are going to be your Hamites from Psalm 83. Some people will receive this, some people won't. And I'm going to explain to you how this works out. These people right here, these yarmulke wearing Africans, that is Psalm 83. Some of y'all can understand this, some of y'all can't. I'm going to say that again and explain this. See, this is a big deception going on. When you look for these, or you start to say, okay, well, let me look in Africa for my so-called Israelite kinfolks, and you see these people, you're going to be like, oh, okay, well, that's them. Well, see, that's not them. That's not your kinfolk. These are the people from Psalm 83. I'm going to show you why. Because, see, your real kinfolk, they don't wear all that. They don't do all of that stuff. See, your kinfolks don't do all of that. No. These are converts, my friend. Because the Jews, our enemy, they've been converting people over there for quite a long time. And what this is for is when you finally come into heritage, you will think you owe these people some kind of reverence. Oh, man, they're the pure people. They're still over there. They're this, they're that. No, these are converts. This is Psalm 83. Right happening right in front of your fucking face. And you don't get it because you're lost. Remember, that is not our custom. But we know who custom it is. Right? Now I want to show you. I want to give you man, can I find that example? Is it still in here? Please still be in here. Here, bam. That's it. That's it. You see, I would trust him, not more than him. I would trust him more than them yarmulke cap wearing Africans. Because see, that's not a part of us. That is not a part of us. See, example, you look down, see, they not got them caps on. You see what I'm saying? But then when you look at the Africans who do got them caps on, you think that's us. That's not us. That's your enemy. And the way they play it, they're not your enemy in the sense that they're coming to fight you. They're your enemy in the sense that they're hiding, trying to use your identity while using the enemy's swag. So I'm going to continue to say, these cap-wearing Africans, these are not the Israelites. They are not, and I'm going to show you why. Now watch. It says, this is Psalm 83, start 7. Even Assyria joined with them. They became the strong arm of Lot's son, Salah. Do to them as to the Midian, as to Caesarea, as to Jabin and Kishon Brook. It says, who were destroyed at Endor. They became dung of the earth. Make their nobles like Oreb Zabib, and their princes like Zabah, and Zamalah, who said, we will conquer for ourselves the pleasant habitation of God. That's the land. That's the land. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back to Obadiah. We go back into Obadiah, because what Obadiah's message is this. Obadiah is condemning all the people who have moved in the land unjustly when they weren't supposed to. This is what Obadiah's message is about, and also his future prophecy and telling you their destruction. But in overall, Obadiah is condemning the people. I'm going to read that again. Now let's go back. Obadiah 1:7. All the men of your covenant escorted you unto the border. Men at peace with you misled you and prevailed over you. Those who made your bread a wound in your place. There was no understanding in him. Behold, on that day, the word of Yahweh, I will eradicate the wise men from Edom and understanding from the mountain of Esau. I'm going to show you how that happened. Because, see, remember, let's keep this in context. Edom wants, let me say this right. When Edom lost the birthright, he did not lose the birthright because of this or that. Edom lost his birthright truthfully because of going and mixing with those women of the Canaanite nations. But the key is this: for Esau to be living back on the land, that means he's double playing the birthright because he's not supposed to be there. So he's forced himself back in. Now watch. Let's keep going. It says, your mighty ones of the south will be broken. Now I'm going to show you who they are in just a second. Salakia, my phone. It says, for the oppression of your brother Jacob, disgrace will envelop you, and you will be cut off forever. Now listen. On the day that you stood afar, on the day that strangers captured his wealth, and foreigners came to his gates and cast the lottery on Jerusalem. It says, you were like one of them. Now, who would do this? Let's get two accounts of that. Let's get two accounts of that real quick. One account, let's go to the book of Jeremiah. Go to Jeremiah 39 and verse number 11. All the Jews who were in Moab with the children of Ammon and in Edom and all the lands heard the king of Babylon had left a remnant for Judah, and that he had appointed Gilead, son of Hakim, son of Shaphan, over them. So remember, say that again. Also, all the Jews who were in Moab with the children of Ammon and Edom and in all the lands heard the king of Babylon left a remnant. Let's stop right there. But keep those names in mind. Jews, Moab, children of Ammon. Where do you know them from? Where do you know all of them names from? Let's go back into it again. I don't think this is being completely grasped. Psalm 83. Start at verse number 7. The tents of Edom and the Ishmaelites, Moab, see, just from the book of Jeremiah, remember? And the Hagarites, Gabal, and who else? Ammon. You starting to see how this is playing out, right? Now let's go back. Go back into Obadiah. I'm sorry. Before we go back, we'll go back into Obadiah one more time. It says, verse 11, on the day that you stood afar, on the day that strangers captured his wealth and foreigners came to his gates and cast a lottery on Jerusalem. When did that happen? Let's just jump back. Let's jump to the book of Joel, number 4. Now listen what it says. Joel, number 4. Starting at verse number 2, I will gather all the nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will contend with them and their concerning my people and my possession, Israel, that they dispersed among the nations and that they divided up in my land. See that? It says, and they cast lots upon my people. They gave a boy for a harlot's fee, and they sold a girl for wine and drink. Also, what are you to do with me? Keep this in mind. Tyre, is their name. Tyre and Sidon and all the districts of Wales, Philistia. Keep those names in mind. Tyre, Sidon, Philistia. Are you paying me requital? Are you paying requital to me? And if you are requiting me swiftly, and I will soon return your quarter upon your head. For you have taken my silver and my gold, and have brought my desirable good possessions to your places, and you sold the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem to the children of the Greeks, in order to distance them from their border. Now, who would have helped do that? Tyre, Zidon, Philistia. All right, one more time. Where we know them from? Let's do it again. Sometimes we have to keep on going over things before it sinks in. It just happens to be like that sometimes. Psalm 83. Remember those names we just hit? And Joel, the tents of Edom, Ishmaelites, Moab, Hagarenes, Gabal, Ammon, Amalek, Philistia, with the inhabitants of Tyre. Hope this is starting to sink in. Let's go back to Obadiah again. It says, gaze not, verse number 12, gaze not on the day of your brother, on the day of their destruction, and do not expand your mouth on the day of misfortune. Enter not the gate of my people on the day of their calamity. See, they were never supposed to come in, like I said. And do not extend your hand to his wealth on the day of his calamity. But see, what did he do? He made a covenant with those other people to do all of that. It says, stand not by the crossroads and cut off his fugitives and deliver not his survivors on the day of misfortune. Why? Because we were trying to flee into Africa, escaping the Chaldeans in the book of Jeremiah, like I just showed y'all. Now, I'm going to prove that. And I'm going to prove that they came in. Now, listen what it says. Now, watch. It says, for the day of Yahweh upon the nations is close, and you have done, so shall be done to you. Your requital shall return upon your head. That's the same requital talked about in Joel the 4th. Are you paying me requital? Soon and speedily that requital will turn upon you. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Okay? It says, return upon your head, for just as you drank of my holy mountain when they stole the land, invaded the land, so will all the nations drink ceaselessly, and they will drink and be confounded and become if they was never were. And on the mount there will refuge, it will be holy, and the house of Jacob will inherit those who dispose them. All of those people. It says the house of Jacob will be a fire, the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for straw. And they will ignite them and devour them, and there will be no survivor in the house of Esau, for Yahweh has spoken. Now listen, and those of the southward will inherit the mountains of Esau, and those of the lowlands will inherit Philistia, and they will inherit the fields of Ephraim, and the fields of Samaria and Benjamin, and unto Gilead. This exiled host of the children of Israel who are among the Canaanites unto Zarephath, and the exile of Jerusalem, which is in Sephard, will inherit the cities of the south. Now you see that? It said Sephard. Now where we know that from? Okay. I done heard 100 breakdowns on Obadiah, but I don't never see nobody deal with that because they're not dealing with names and people. Who is Sephard? Let's point it out, just so you can see. You see the same exact name, right? Now, who is a Sephardic Jew? Now, who have we already shown these people to be? They're Amorites. These are the Amorites from Sippar, who was put back in our land. Now, y'all gonna tell me y'all done broke down Obadiah 100 times, and y'all done passed this word every time? Obadiah 1 and 21, which is in the Sephora. That's the Amorites. And it told you they would dwell in the cities of the south. Why is that going to become important? So let's get some history, right? Now, when we get some history, first thing first, let's look at some of these trade routes, right? Trade routes 1200. Now, this is the Amorite trade route, which is the same people. Now, I'm going to show you something. If you look real carefully between the land, you see this little route right here? I'm going to show you something about that. That is the same route. And Jeremiah 44, when we ran into Africa, this is how these people inherited the land, because we left when we wasn't supposed to. We were supposed to have faith that Yahweh was going to take care of us. No, we said, no, we're going to run down to Egypt, and Egypt going to help us. Now look, it says the word came to Jeremiah concerning all the youths, which that word is just, they tried to substitute use for us, were living in the land of Egypt, who were in Migdol and in Taphanes. It's in Taphanes, right? That is Taphanes right there. And this is the route that we ran into Egypt. And these will be along the routes in the cities that we moved to down in here. So we fled out of Israel in the time of the Chaldeans, as I've showed numerous times now. And this is where we went to do the Queen of Heaven worship. Okay? This is, and the Babylonian exiles are still gone, but the people who would still be here, they fled. All right. So we've seen the trade route, right? And I'm going to show you something interesting about the trade route. Now, go back. When you look at this trade route and you pay close attention, notice it has a little bit, but notice it's mainly covering North Africa. And you don't see it so much covering South Africa, but you see a few spots down in here. Why does that become important? Because what was this known as? This area right here, what is that known as on all the old maps? It's known as Negro land. Now, all the stories of the slave trade said that Negroes would have been taken from more or less south and this part of Africa and took, right? Now, I'm going to show you that these Emirates, these Sephardi's, would be living just as the Torah has told us. They would be the people who inherited the south, which would be Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. They inherited those lands when we left, right? So let's get a piece of history. This is a piece of so-called Greek history, and this is based off this movie, and they give a small commentary. Now listen to what it says. It says, yes, Alexander is the Alexander the Great who conquered the land of Israel, circa 329 BC. According to the ancient Jewish historian Josephus, Alexander had a great respect for the Jewish people. Now I'm going to show you that he ain't talking about us. In one story recounted in Josephus' Antiquities, Alexander had made a mystical vision which informed him of the victories that had been happened because of God of the Jews allowed it to happen. Now listen, watch this. The version of Alexander's arrival given in the Talmud, we didn't write that, Yama 69, is not quite as fantastic as the sages charged at the time to realize that Israel had no chance of defeating Alexander. See, but that's the point. We wasn't living there no more. It's all these other people from Psalm 83. They will be the people living here now. And we're going to prove that. Now notice what it says. The version of Alexander's arrival given in the Talmud. Now watch this. In return, it says, in return, according to legends, Alexander asked every Jewish boy born in the next year to be named Alexander because of the Jewish practice of naming babies after ancestors' names is preserved. But the whole point is, why does the Talmud record Alexander the Great coming in the land? And it tells you that he himself had a connection to these people. Why is that? One second. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. It's going to make more sense in just 1 second. I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you why. When you go into the Apocrypha, and you go into the book of the Maccabees, and you go into, I believe it's the 5th chapter of the Maccabees, it's straight up. Silaki, let me find it. It straight up tells you. And that's First Maccabees. Was that 5? Or was that Second Maccabees 5? Let me check. Make sure I get all this lined up, because I didn't write none of this down, man. I've just literally just seen a few things. Spirit jumped on me and just told me to go ahead and get this one going. That's the became King Antioch. Slow down. Let me get this all right. Please, y'all, just stay on focus. Just stay focused with me. Okay, there we go, Salakia. Sorry. This is First Maccabees, chapter number 5. And it happened when the heathen round about heard the altar had been rebuilt and the sanctuary rededicated before, and it made them very angry, and they resolved to destroy the descendants of Jacob that were among them. And they began to kill and ravage among the people. And Judas fought against the sons of Esau and Idumea and against Archibald. So Esau and Idumea. All right. Now remember, Philip of Macedonia was an Edomite. And Philip, now who was Philip's descendant? It says, First Maccabees, book 1, verse number 1. And it came to pass after Alexander of Macedon, son of Philip, which is an Edomite. Alexander the Great was an Edomite. Okay? Now, I just showed you. We just showed you on the screen that the same people that came in the land, when Alexander the Great came in the land, that they would have had the Talmud. Now, where does that Talmud come from? So let me go back. I have to pull this up again. This time I'm going to read it all. I showed this on the last one. I think it's going to become more important this time. Forgive me for my hand and my movement, y'all. I'm just trying to get all this right. It says a special section of the Talmud, and then you get the page, is devoted to the various superstitions called the ways of the Amorites. According to the book of Jubilees, the former terrible giants Rephaim gave way to the Amorites, an evil, sinful people whose wickedness surpassed that of any whose life was cut short. No, it wasn't. They're still alive. In the Syriac apocalypse of Baruch, remember, Baruch is Jeremiah's scribe. They are symbolized by black water on the account of their black art, their witchcraft, and impure mysteries which they contaminated Israel in the time of Judges. So, wait. When Alexander the Great came down there, that was the Sephardi. That wasn't Israelites. That was the Sephardi. And they had already wrote the Talmud because they had came back from Babylon. I don't know how much more of this we have to keep on getting. And then we can go into the book of Isaiah. In the book of Isaiah, and all praise to Yahweh for this. All praise to Yahweh for this, because all of this lines up. Look what I found. Look at here. And I'm looking at this map, right? And when you look at the top, what do you see right there? Who do you see living in the Caucasus Mountains? Who did it actually show? Oh, let me get this to the light. Let me get this to the light side so y'all can see. Who was that show? Excuse me for the phone. Who does that show living up in the Caucasus Mountains, up in the top right-hand corner? That's Ashkenazi. And what does it say right under it? Scythian. You see that? All praise to Yahweh for this map. Ashkenazi, also known as the Scythian. I've told you, they would have been the people who would have got down and destroyed Assyria, as we've already demonstrated. So all praise to Yahweh for that map. That was actually not even supposed to be a part of this, but I just happened to notice that up on that map, Ashkenazi would have been, and that is the Caucasus Mountains. Make no mistake, right? Let's get back on subject. I'll praise Yahweh for that, because that wasn't supposed to be a part of this. So we understand that the book of Obadiah and Psalm 83, and as well as the rest of the Torah, has been painting this picture, and that the Amorites would have possessed the cities of the south. And when Alexander the Great came in, those would be the people who gave him the Talmud. And this is exactly why I told y'all in the New Testament there are no Israelites. Ain't no Israelites though. That's the myth. Because it already told you, these are not the Israelites. These are converts, converted by the same set parties when they went through Africa. They converted those people. That's why they were the yarmulkes, and that's why they got all the customs of our enemy. That is Psalm 83. Hold on. Go back. Let's go back. Let me get that book. So I feel one second. This is exactly why. Let me see if I can pull this up. In Joel, when it said that they had sold us to the children of the Greeks, all we got to do is realize that it's only see? And a lot of times when you pull these pictures up, it's going to say Hellenistic. But Hellenistic, this is just a Greek-speaking Israelite. That's what Hellenistic actually means. So when you see all these noble black Greeks, that could be Japhet, and that could very well be you. That could very well be you, because the book of Joel, and these are the black Greek statues. Joel just told us verse number 6, and you sold the children of Judah and the children of Jerusalem to the children of the Greeks in order to distance them from their border. This is what Obadiah is letting you know. He's letting you know the condemnation upon the people who would have inherited and invaded the land. And it was already said to him to not do this action. Psalm 83 gives you the rundown on the major players of the game. You get the names of the major players of the game. The book of Obadiah lets you know the Sephard would be in the southern cities, and Alexander the Greek when he comes into it, those are not the Israelites. Because remember, for anybody who's missing this, when Moses went on the mountain, he was not given the Talmud. He was given the law, statutes, and commandments. Very simple. I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to say this, y'all. Some people are going to graduate. Some people are going to gravitate towards this. Y'all saw nigga TV come on, and he straight up said when he started to study in the New Testament, the people wasn't lining up because they wasn't the Israelites. I'm going to say this with all sincerity. I done confounded a top scholar in Israel because they're still using myths, and a few other people who I ain't going to mention because they're all using the myths. It's going to come to a point to where you're going to have to start to see the truth, or you're going to be a part of those people with the myths. And the people who are dealing in the truth and the history, they're going to start to separate from these myth makers. And when I say myths, all I'm really saying are the lies that dominate Israel about our heritage that we can't find in the Torah. So I hope this was a very edifying lesson. All praise to Yahweh for that. Shalom.